Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for another tutorial. Now this one is in conjunction with an online shop called madarches.co.uk and they stock a variety of the lovely Mintay papers. Now I've only ever used the Mintay papers once before, so a new line for me when I made this album here. So today we're going to be remaking this step by step using another of the papers available from Madarches called the Mamarazzi, which is I think one of their newer papers. The idea was to make a really nice, simple beginner's album which used very little tools and things, just the basics of a scoreboard and cutter, and you'll be fine with this. No dies, punches or anything, but then of course if you are more experienced you can add your own flavour using whatever you want. So that was the original, so we'll keep referring back to the Cozy Cottage one, but as I said we're going to use the Mamarazzi. Now the album only uses one of the 12 by 12 to make the basic version. So we'll be using one of these and it comes with 12 double-sided sheets. So we'll have another quick look at the papers later on. But if you wanted to enhance your album even further, you can also get some matching paper die cuts. So these are great to fill and decorate your pockets and creating tuck spots and things like that, just by adding a little bit of glue to the bottom. What you can also get are the chippies, which are like MDF type embellishments. And I think I've just noticed, I don't think, once you open them, I think you even get an extra sheet of 12 by 12. Does that match the collection? Yes, it does. So that's a nice bonus. They're great for putting on the cover. And if you prefer smaller scales or cards, you can also get them in a 6 by 6 size as well from Madarches. I do like the old film strip where you used to get your negatives on, and loads of detailed papers. I do like the greeny colour with those yellows as well. So a really nice pattern. And to help you along the way even further, if you head over to Facebook and you look up Paper Crafting with Paul, which is my Facebook group, or if you just click in the description below, you'll find a link. You'll be able to download the cutting guide and the scoring guide, which will help you along the way. So I'm going to be using this to help me along the way today. So it's a great way then of just ticking off as we go. I haven't done the album yet, so hopefully there'll be some photos on yours as well for you to refer to. So as I said, we only need the basics. So I'm going to grab my trimmer, my scoreboard and my scoring tool, and I'm going to prepare all the pages. I'm going to cut my MDF, my chipboard, and I'm going to cover mine using construction tape, but of course you can use whatever you want. So grab your supplies and let's get crafting. So we're going to start off first with our cover. Now, for those who've been following me, you know I do like the tape method, but if you wanted to cover yours in the cardstock, there are plenty of tutorials online that you can follow, and you can cover it with your black cardstock or whatever colour you want. To save some time, I have cut my chipboard ready. So if I go to my cutting list, I can see I need 2 6 1/4 by 8 3/4 and 1 6 1/4 by 2 1/2. It's going to be a nice landscape version. So I've cut those. So let's just tick them off. Let's cover it up. Now, if you want to get your hands on this tape. I'll add a link in the description box below for you to find it. I just find it a nice, quick, easy method, but also it means there's no cracking of your paper and things. So it is my preferred method. So I've just pulled my tape nice and long, longer than the edge of my cover. I'm just going to place it on its end, at the end of the tape, but down the center of my tape. And then just make sure it's in contact. I'm just going to pull my tape a little bit more, and then keeping it nice and tight, just going to flip the end over and cover the next bit. Make sure it's contact, and then a nice long bit again, keeping it nice and taut and placing it down the center. I'm just going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut it off at the end. So I only need to cover 3 sides because our spine is going to go on this one. So now that I've covered the 3 sides, I'm just going to come into the corner now and cut just a small little V down towards the corner of my chipboard cover. And I need to do that on both of these and on the back. So just make sure you take off your little triangles, otherwise they can block up your scissors. And again, on the back as well. There we go. 4 bits, 4 V's cut off. And I'm just going to bring my Teflon tool here, and I'm just going to press it on. Actually, I don't need my Teflon tool yet, I just need my fingers. And what I'm going to do is just make sure it's all in contact and just start pinching just the very tip of the tape, just to cover the edge nicely. And once I've got that contact just around the edge, I can now pinch it down in the center and work out. There we are. And then I'm going to do the same here. So I'm going to do it a bit faster. So I'm just pinching it over the edge and then starting from the center out. Now, don't panic if you've got a crease in your tape. That's what the Teflon tool is for. We're going to take this, so you can see there's a couple of wrinkles there. We're just going to press them down. Press that. You can tidy up your edges. Now you're only going to see a tiny bit of this anyway, so if it has crumpled, don't panic, it'll be under your paper. So there's one, and now let's do the other one. So because it's a landscape one this time, I'm covering 2 of the long edges and 1 short. If you're doing a portrait album, you're going to do it 2 short and 1 long. Cut it off. Let's just cut off those 4 corners. And the last one. And the other side. So small pinches and then flatten it all. Contact, small pinch, and then just smooth out that tape. So there's your front and back cover done. So you've got that 2.5 inch spine. We're just going to cover the top and bottom. So we're just going to go down the center and then just fold it over. You can do the same again. Just down the center and fold it over. So that's all the edges taped. Now we're just going to join them together. Oh, I tugged it a bit too hard. Right. So I'm looking for a piece which is just a couple of inches longer than the height of my album. I just want a little bit top and bottom. So I'm just going to lay my tape down. I'm going to take my left cover and place it down the center. Just as you would in your paper covering method, you do want a gap in between. And you want it to be twice the thickness of your paper, of your chipboard. So the easiest way to do that is to place your spine one on top of your cover, line up both corners, try and keep it flat, hold them together, so you lift it over and place it down. So now when you open it up and just tease it apart, you have now got the gap between the two. So I'm just going to pull it over, press it down, pull it over and press it down. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to place it with the sticky up. Place my cover down the center. And I'm going to put my cover on top, line up, and the idea now, we're lining up all those edges so you're going to get a nice straight cover. I'm going to flip it over, press it down, open it out, and bring that tape over. So we've just got these exposed bits here. That's all we're going to do is just cover them up with some more tape. Now, in the paper method, if you're covering it with cardstock, you would now cover all of that with a piece of cardstock. You could do the same again with this, just on the inside, because your spine pieces will only come to here, or your spine mounts. Now, because I've got the 1/2 inch gaps between my pages today, I might have some of that chipboard exposed. So that's all I'm going to do. A far easier way is to just cover it. Now it has ended up covering everything, but all I wanted was a little bit this side and a bit this side, which I'll show you when I come to the spine mounts later on. There we go. So there we have our cover ready to go. So the next step now is to cut up and score our cardstock. So I'm going to put these to the side and grab my card and my trimmer. So I've got my cutting list ready, got my black cardstock and my trimmer. So the way I do it is I cut my pieces and then pile them up then in the order I want to use them. And then I do all my cutting in one go, then all my scoring in one go. So let's start with the page bases. So I've got a little code here. So it says PB, and I need 8 of them. And I want them at 6 1/4 by 8. So let's have a look at 6 1/4 by 8. So that's a piece for later. Six 1/4 by 8. So this is making, as I said, the page bases. So this is, as I said, the base of our, see if I can cut 2 at a time, the base of our album. And I'm going to be showing how to decorate these, but if you just wanted to do the base pages and just cover them straight or add your own twists, that would work. Yeah, I'll speed things up. So I got 4. Six 1/4. By 8. We just need those 2 more. Six 1/4 by 8. Now all these offcuts here, they would actually then be large enough to make your inserts for your pocket pages if you wanted to do extra photo mats. And what I'd do then is grab a pencil and just on the top one, let's just write PB. So that means page base. And I'm going to turn them over and place them down. Take a couple of scraps there. And I can tick off on my cutting sheet that I've done the 8. So now I'm going to make my spines. So that's 5 3/4 by 2 1/2 and 5 3/4 by 3 1/2. Now I'm going to use 2 of those offcuts I've got. So I'm going to keep 4 back as my photo mats, but I've got 4 to play with. So they were 5 3/4. So I'm cutting both of these at the same time. So one of them is 2 1/2. So that is S1 or spine 1. That was too short to do the other one, which is why I cut this one. So let me just check the right side. Yep, by 3 1/2. So this was S2. And I just turn it upside down and place it on my pile, facing down. Then when I come to flip my pieces over later, they'll all be in the correct order. So if you're just making the basic album, that is all you need to do, and then you can decorate it as you wish. But in the tutorial, I have got some page elements. So let's just take S1 and S2 out. And let's do the inside cover. So for the inside cover, I need to cut 2 pieces, 9 3/4 by 4.5. Now I'm not going to get the 2 of them out of this one piece. So what I'll do, I got a 4.5. So this is inside cover 1 or IC1. And then IC2, inside cover 2, is 9 3/4, same width and 3 inches. So I'm going to get that out of this piece. And what these are, just the stacked pockets on the inside. So inside cover 2. So that's what will make these 2 pockets here. So I'll obviously need it for the back as well. So I'm going to cut a 9 3/4 again. And 4.5. So that's IC1, IC1. And at 3 inches for IC2. IC2. And let's turn them upside down in my pile. And let's tick it off. So we're now onto our page decorations. And I want page 1, a P. A P means a pocket. So page 1, pocket. So this is going to be 6.5. I'm going for my shortest one. So then I've got all that extra for the next bit. So 6.5 by 6 3/4. So this is P1, page 1, pocket. And then we want page 1 flap. We want one of these. So that's 7 inches by 4.5. So because I cut my pocket that way, I've got enough here. 7 by 4.5. So this is page 1 flap. And turn it upside down. Page 1 flap. So on to page 2 now. So page 2 pocket. So we need one of these. So just the one single thing here. So 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. So just making a square. Six 3/4 by 6 3/4. Now I know I'm going to be doing a diagonal cut here, so I'm just going to write up in the corner, page 2 pocket. So that's that done. So page 3 has got a few things to do. So we need a 7 by 6 3/4 piece. So if I do the 6 3/4 first. By 7. This is page 3, pocket 1. So P3, P1. Turn it over. Now we need P3. Oh, sorry, we've done P3, P1. We now want P3, P2, which is 7.5 by 3.5. So I can use one of my offcuts. So 7.5 by 3.5. So this is page 3, pocket 2. So just need one of those, turn it upside down again. And now a 7.5 by 2.5. So 7.5. by 2.5. So that is page 3, pocket 3. Turn it over. And onto the last page, page 4. I want a 9 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to do the 4 3/4 first. By 9. This is page 4, pocket 1. So now we need a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 square. Can I get that from one of my scraps? Yes, I will. So this is one of those pieces from the start. 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So this is page 4, pocket 2. I didn't tick off the last one. And now we've got page 4, waterfalls. And we need 4 of these. So we can use quite a few of our scrappy bits here to make these smaller bits. So let's have a look. 3 3/4. Yes. Am I going to make 4 1/4? No. No, that's 3 1/2. Too short there. Let's have a look. Let's do 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. 3 3/4. And the last bit, so 4 1/4 3 3/4 and 3 3/4. So these are my page 4 waterfalls. I could write down all of them, but I'm just going to write down the first one just to save time. So there's my cutting all done. So I've kept organized, I've ticked as I go through. So now I'm going to put all these little pieces of scraps away and just grab my scoreboard. So as I said before, I put everything on my left hand side upside down. So now when I flip it over, they'll all be back in order. So I'll do the same now. Take it from my right, score, and put it upside down on my left. Now on the cutting guide, in the orange beneath, I've got all our score guides. So we've got our page bases, and it says score with a 6 1/4 on top. So your 6 1/4 side goes on top, and score at half. So I'm just going to come down. Again, I just flip it over. Half. 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 Oop. Just came out of the channel there. Half. And the last one. So there's the 8 page bases done. So next bit, I should have S1. So that's right. So the S1 directions, and the S2 actually, it says score 2.5 inches on the top. So it means I'm going to put my 2.5 there. At 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then I'm going to rotate and 1/2 and 1 again. So all that means is I do 1/2 and 1. rotate it, half, and 1. So that's S1, spine 1, and spine 2 is exactly the same. Half and 1, rotate, half and 1. Now if you want to make it so that you're lining up essentially, you can just do little notches at the half marks again. So at the half and 2, so 1.5 and 2, just little notches, and that'll help you line up your spine later on. But that's up to you. So that would make your basic album. You could stop there, just decorate the pages. But as I said, we've got all these page elements. So IC2, it says I need to score it 1/2 inch on both short and 1 long. So both short and 1 long. That's IC. Oh, sorry, that's IC2. Luckily, it's the same one. Here's IC1. IC1, both short and 1 long. So IC1, IC2, and again, because we've got the front and back cover, we need to do it on both. So both short and 1 of the long. So IC1, IC2. And flip them over. So now we're on to page 1 pocket. And page 1 pocket says score with a 3 1/4 inch on top. Oh, sorry, 3 3/4 inch on top. Yep, that's the one I got it. At half. Rotate, so that means turn it around the other side, so my score mark is there, and half again. And score at 6 1/2 on the top, at half. Did I do those on the right one? So 6 3/4 on top is at half. Rotate. I did do the wrong way. There we are. We all screaming there. So only needed to do the 1 on the 6 1/2. So I'll have to remember that when I come to cut. Page 1 flap, 7 inch on the top, score at half. Flip it over. Page 2 pocket. So there's only the one thing here, and I need to score it 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. So half, 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 and half. So now I've got my page 3 pocket 1. So page 3 pocket 1, 7 inch on top. So this is where we've got to be careful because they're quite similar in sizes. So 7 inch on top at 1/2 inch. And then with the 6 3/4 on top, I want to do the half and rotate. There we go. And flip it over. Page 3, pocket 2, both short and 1 long. And then page 3, pocket 3, both short and 1 long again. 1 short, 1 short, and 1 long. Page 4, pocket 1, 1/2 inch on both short and 1 long. So both the short and 1 long. Pocket 2, so this is a square, so it doesn't matter which side, but just says score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. 1, 2, And then all 4 waterfall pieces with the 3 3/4 on the top at half. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's our scoring done. So now let's just add our tape. So again, I'm just going to flip everything over. And again, now they're back in order. So with our page bases, we have this 1/2 inch here. My tape is just going between the edge of my card and my score line. Just make sure you don't cover your score. And we've got 8 of these to do. So I'll try and get through them as quick as we can. One more, nope, 2 more. Okay. And flip it over. Oh, we've got 1 more. Okay, so with our spine 1, I'm just going to put the tape on the 2 outer pieces. Okay, so we had all our score lines coming down, the 2 outers. Same again with spine number 2. And turn it upside down. IC1, we've got a pocket. So I'm taping up between my 2 score lines that are coming down my short sides. I don't need to cover those squares, they're going to be cut off. So from the score line to the edge, score line to the edge. So that's IC1, IC2, exactly the same, from the score line to the edge, between the 2 score lines, and score line to edge again. So that's IC2. So we've got another IC1. This is for the back cover, inside cover. And an IC2. So now we're on to the page 1, pocket 1. Now this was the one I did wrong, so I need to just double check which one I need to ignore. Oh no, this is the one I did need 4 score lines on. So just between all 4 score lines, but I do have something else I need to do here. So I'm going to tape them all up. And when I come to do my cutting later, I'll have to do some trickery here. Pocket 1 flap is just 1 straight edge. So that's a nice easy bit. Now this is the one I needed to double check. So page 2, pocket 2, page 2, pocket 2. Okay. So this was the one I needed to. Page 1, pocket 1. I think I'm going to cut this one again. Let's just go back, it'll be easier. So page 1, pocket 1 was 6 3/4. By 6 1/2. think that's where I went confused because it's such a small difference. Right, let's have a look. So 6 3/4 along the top. I'm going to score at half, rotate half, and on this one, just down one side. That's where I went wrong. So this is page 1, pocket. So sorry if you followed that, but if you're following the cutting guide, you'll be correct. Here we are. Page 1, pocket 1, page 1, flat 1. Put them back in order. So this is the one where I have got all 4. Huge apologies for that confusion there. Okay, page 2, pocket 2. We're back in order now. And 3 sides there. This one has got 3 sides as well, so from the score line to the edge and across the top between the score lines. Page 3, pocket 3 has got 3. Page 4, pocket 1. This is a nice big pocket. And that big pocket has a smaller pocket on top, which is wrong side. And then the 4 waterfalls. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. And again, as I flip them over, they will still be in order. So now it's time just to burnish and trim our pockets and things as we go. So our page bases are just a nice, straightforward burnish. But we want your pockets to lie flat. So give it a really nice burnish because you want it to come back on itself. So again, and as we're burnishing like this, nice and hard, I'm also burnishing that tape onto the page. The page base is probably the longest part because there's 8 of them. It feels quite repetitive, but that is what our base page is. And the tool I'm using is my Teflon tool, which I bought from the Cool Cats. And being Teflon, it means it doesn't mark your cardstock. So when I press down this side, I don't get those shiny marks that you get if you use your plastic bone folder. So it means I can press down without the worry of marking it. And the last one. Okay, there we go. And now we've got our two spine ones. We've got spine 1 and spine 2. Now with our spines, we have got this little flexi hinge. So I'm folding both of my flaps back, and then I'm folding the two inners upwards. So I get this U shape, but with the two flappy bits. Now those two are where our pages go on, so we want to train them to go both ways. So the outer ones train to go both ways. And again, I'm going to fold the first one back. Now there doesn't need to be as sharp a burnish as my base pages, because they don't need to lie flat. We don't need that 90 degree. Sorry, 180 degrees then. We only want like a 90 degree fold, so that's fine. So again, you've got that U shape, and then the flaps come backwards. And what we'll do is we'll put them together like that. We'll be stacking them later on. So that's why you had those two little notches if you decided to add them. Now we've got our inside cover. This is going to be a pocket. So what I'm going to do with my pockets to help them lie flat is to cut towards the cross where we've got two score lines, and then just angle my scissors a bit to my left and cut, rather than going straight across. So then when we fold them later back on each other, they're not going to meet. So you're not going to get that big bulk in the corner. So that's my corner cut. So again, we're going to do a corner cut on the other side and out. And then these do want that nice burnish because we want it to lie flat. So that's IC1. This is IC2, so we need corner cuts. And a corner cut. Fold back. Then we've got another IC1. Corner cut. Corner cut. And a burnish. And a nice long one. And our IC2. Corner cut. Corner cut. And burnish. So we've got IC1s and IC2s done. Now we're going on to the page 1. So page 1 has a pocket. Again, we're going to do one of those corner cuts. This was my nemesis pocket, wasn't it? I don't know why, it's such an easy one to do. I think I just put the wrong side on the top, the first score. Okay. And then we've got that flap going across that one. So we didn't need to do anything with that. Now with our page 2 pocket, remember we wrote it up in the corner. The reason being is I'm actually going to cut this in half diagonally using my trimmer, just lining my points with the channel, and I'm cutting. So those are going to be my two triangular pockets, which are going to overlap like this. So for this one now, I don't want those bits poking up. So from that score line, I'm going to cut quite sharply down. So this angle is sharper than that 45-degree one we cut just now. So again here, I want it sharper. And then here, we're going to do just our corner cut. Now the reason I do it sharper than that side is, so when we fold it over, we don't get the overlap. Cut it up to that score line and a corner cut. Those are our 2 triangle pockets. Page 3, pocket 1. I'll see if we're going to do a corner cut and a corner cut. That's going to be the big pocket that everything gets built on, because we've got 2 more pockets. So pocket 2, just corner cuts and burnishing. And third pocket exactly the same, 2 corner cuts. And burnish. And the last page now is page 4. So you can see this is a perfect beginner project because I'm just using the same cut and measurements all the way through to create pockets, which you can then, if you're more advanced, you can change nice and easy or add your own flair to. But if it's your first project or you're just looking for something to make nice and quick, this is a lovely one to do. Just put an extra bit of tape on the edge. There we go. So again, that was just corner cuts and burnish. And now our waterfalls are just a fold and burnish. And we've got 4 of these to do. Now these I will be burnishing, so I want my waterfall to lie nice and flat later on. There we are. So that is our album pages all prepped and ready to go. So when I flip it over, they're going to be in order. So I'm going to put these off to the side. I'm going to grab my cover and get ready for assemble.